Okay, are you ready to enter the Positron? Let's go. So, in terms of Positron, my full disclosure is that I am new to this, but we're going to learn it. And we're going to create this solid foundation in statistical programming in such a way that, oh my gosh, these 5 weeks are just going to go by fast. And because, oh my gosh, I can't believe I learned so much. And so, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So I'm going to go to the search bar, assuming that you already have Positron open. So therefore, open Positron. And you're gonna press. You're gonna do a caret sign, a greater, not a caret sign, greater than sign, and the first one is on my end says create project because I already did this before. And so what you're gonna do to get that to show up on your end is to start to type create project, and that's what we're gonna click. Okay, we're gonna click on that. And so from there, I'm going to say default project. That's the one that we're going to select for this class. Boom. And then I'm going to choose a location. And I'm going to choose my directory. I want you all to choose your desktop as the location. Just so that you can have the information in one central place. If your desktop is all like, a bunch of files, I understand. Maybe you should create some type of structure, but that's not for this class. But for this class, just put it on a desktop, preferably. And then, boom, we can provide a project name. The best, or the ideal name, I would say, would be Stat 331. It's called Summer, because it is summer. 2025. I'm fine with this, but I won't say class just because I'm extra. Class. And boom. We're going to say trust folder. That's fine. Yes, I trust authors. That's fine. So in this particular situation, or at least how I'm going to be setting up this project, is for us to have a central home where we have all our files from class so that we are as organized regarding material as possible. This sort of organization, I feel as though, this is my opinion, does not get enough discussion, or not even discussion, just lights, or someone emphasizing file management, file organization in any project. So we're gonna create some directories or some folders here to be as organized as possible in this class. One huge element here to also note is that this project in and of itself is not connected to GitHub. In a full 10-week course, I would put that additional requirement, or it'd be optional to actually connect this to GitHub. But we're not going to do that here. Okay, we're not going to do that here. I'm just telling you that it is possible to connect this to a GitHub repo, and then boom, you're pushing and pulling and doing what you have to do. All right, so what I'm going to require you all to do is to create a folder. And how I did that was a right click, or you can just click this button right here, folder. All right, so we're going to folder, create a folder. The very first folder is going to be called R. Okay, and then we're going to create another folder called data. Okay, and so the rationale behind this is because I want to be as organized as possible. I am loud. I'm sorry, turn me down if you need to, but I'm so passionate about this because file organization can make your life and other people's lives so much better. Okay, so much better. Okay, so what we're going to do now within R for our class is going to create another directory within it and call it assignments. I'm going to lowercase it, assignments. Okay, boom. Therefore, where do you think assignments are going to go? Okay, so therefore do that. And then within R, the same folder, you got to right click, you got to make sure that it's like right underneath the cursor because you only have one folder there, one directory there. Within R, I'm going to create another directory called class notes. So wherever we have class notes, go over the ETV process, you just put it there. And then last but not least, within R, we're going to have videos. Okay, I believe that is it in terms of content, different content types. So assignments, homeworks, if your project might go in there as well. Your project might just go in there. That's fine. We'll discuss that later. But this is pretty much it. And so what do you think is going to be in your data directory? Obviously your data. Okay, so with that being said, there are multiple types of R files. Okay, let me let me just give you some, for example. So I'm going to be creating videos in a moment. In here, I can create a new file, and the extension is one of the extensions is going to be, let's say, video 1 through 4. All right, 1 through 4. It can be a .qmd file, which we already see on the screen. Okay, boom. And this file is one of the most robust files types in R, in that you can create websites from this, you can create a blog from this, you can create interactive documents from this, which is amazing as well. I mean, it's amazing. So that's cool. We're going to primarily use a Quartzo document. We can also, I'm just going to rename this and turn this into an R Markdown file. Okay. And I can call this an R Markdown file, and it has the same powers, but it's not as powerful as a Quartzo file, in case you see this elsewhere. I can also turn this into just a plain old R file. Let me see if I don't embarrass myself. I think it's just regular R. Okay. So in this traditional R file, so the first two files, I didn't highlight this, but the first two files, you can have text and code. So in here, I can press Command-Alt-I. I always forget how to insert code chunk, and we can turn this into R. And if I do 4 plus 5 and I run this, again, remember I'm new to this, I get 9 here. So I can have text and I can have R in my, code. You saw it has Python as well in other languages, but again, this is statistical programming in R, so we're going to highlight that. However, here, this only allows you to have code. So if I do hello, it's going to, and I try to run this, right? It's going to give me an error. So, but if I say hello is a nice little teaching moment, assign that to 1, right? Hello, this is equivalent to equals, but this is more powerful in R. Assign. If I say print hello, okay, I know this is my CS students like, why are we doing this? You are seeing what we can now do in R. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so that's that file. And last but not least, just I know I have some Python folk. I can also run Python here. Just do py. I mean, you're used to VS Code, maybe you can do that as well. If we just do this, say equal. I think you have to save the file in order for it to run. Yeah, so there we go. Got one. So that's that. In terms of other things to highlight, you can see that you can specify the programming language. If I go back here, if I go to R, it'll change. We won't necessarily do much here. We're not gonna do, again, like we're not gonna be using Git in this class. We have our console where we can run our Python, which is nice. And then we have our terminal. So that's that. I think that's pretty much it in terms of the details. If you're familiar with VS Code, this looks very familiar. You have your search, you have your, Git functionality. This is run and debug. I'm not too familiar with that because I'm not, it's fine. But I think that's pretty much it. So have a good one, and let me start recording those videos.